So this is the kind of thing that, like, in the moment when it was happening, it didn't hit me as something that was as extreme. That maybe not the best word. This sad, unfortunate, but also extreme, as it actually was. Like looking back, like after I got clean last year, looking back at the most recent relapse, and just remembering as much as I could. This is one of the things that, like, in my memory, it's just like, whoa, that was really, really crazy. So there was an intersection. It's a famous intersection in Columbus. I'm not going to name it, but it's an intersection where there's a lot of homeless people hanging out. There's a lot of drug dealing. There's a lot of panhandling and other hustling and whatnot. So it's kind of a mecca of sorts for anything a down-and-out drug addict may need. And it was a place that I, started to frequent, pretty much every day, about a month into the relapse. And of course it came with its cast of characters. And, the vast majority of those characters, let's not talk about the local merchants and whatnot, like the cast of characters, homeless drug addicts. But Bethany was different. Bethany was very different. So Bethany had already been on the scene. By the scene, I mean the intersection. She had showed up at the intersection according to the other homeless people. She had been there for a couple of months. Bethany was a light-skinned African-American woman who I would say was about maybe 35 or 40. And she carried all her possessions on her back and whatnot. But the thing about Bethany, she wasn't an addict. Something really bad happened to this woman because she would sit on her folded out blanket at this intersection, kind of, off to the side in the trees. She would sit there literally 24/7, just with a blank stare on her face, kind of rocking back and forth, just staring into empty space. Like she was obviously been through like some type of trauma, and not like, oh, I'm traumatized by the things that had like real trauma that put her into this state of just, she's completely gone, as they would say. But there was more to it, though. So Bethany, she wasn't like, she would come together every once in a while. Like she knew my name. A lot of Bethany would be given a lot of food by people, strangers or her, people who have kind of figured out what was going on would give her food, would give her money and whatnot. And, she would always offer her food to me and to other people. So, you'd walk past Bethany and she would just hold out an apple and just say, apple. And it got to the point where like she would remember what everybody's favorite foods were. And, anytime a situation came up where she could offer something that she knew someone liked, she would do it. And it would be never more than just your name and the name of the food with an extended hand. If you tried to talk to her, if you tried to actually sit down and talk to her, it was just, she would just stare into space, like there would be no reply. And it was really messed up looking back at it, because like people would give Bethany money all the time. Like, strangers would just toss her money and whatnot, and she would always give all the money away to the other homeless people. And like, so not instead of the food offerings, you might walk by her one time and she would just extend her hand with a $5 bill trying to offer it to you. I typically declined them. Yes, there were a few instances when I was dope sick when I did what I had to do. But yeah, it's messed up, but whatever. And so nobody knew. She didn't have any type of identification. There was nobody. None of the homeless people, none of the local merchant shop owners or whatever knew anything about this woman's past. She just showed up one day, sat down, and stared into space 24/7. And it got to the point where like she just gave off a very good feeling. Like she just seemed like before, she would have been a really nice woman before whatever happened to her. And we got very protective of her in the sense that like we were always, we would always just kind of keep an eye on her, and someone would always be there like staying with her or whatnot. And there were a few times when like local, troublemaking kids or whatever would like try and mess with her. and the homeless people would like really quickly make sure the situation went no further. But the thing that got to me about Bethany was I started to notice after some time that she had a bunch of tattoos all over her legs. And they were like nice professional tattoos. And for some reason, like that just really got to me. That just drilled home the point that before whatever happened, this she was actually a human being who presumably decided on tattoos, chose tattoos, paid for tattoos, had a life where she could pay for tattoos and everything. And it was just so messed up because it's just, and I don't want this to come out the wrong way, but like the idea of like going from literally like staring into space, not on drugs or anything, like if I just sat here and tried to stare into space, like yeah, I could start thinking about, you know, nerdy stuff or whatever, daydreaming for a little bit, but eventually like I couldn't just sit there and stare into space. The idea that like this was her normal, but yet she would snap back into reality to offer people food or offer people money, had the retention of knowing what people's favorite foods were. It was just very, and I remember like it was turning into winter, and like there was just all this gossip of like what's going to happen to Bethany, what's going to happen to Bethany. And eventually one day, everybody woke up and arrived at the intersection, and Bethany was gone. There were rumors that a ambulance took her away at a very early hour, but I mean unconfirmed. But yeah, then one day she was gone, and yeah, it was just nobody knows where she went. Nobody knows who she ever was. I'm sure there are people out there who do, but it's disconnected. And so, like this intersection, after I got clean, like I had avoided this intersection for a long time. Not really avoided as in like the people, places, and things type of avoidance, but like it's just out of the way from where I'm located now. But I actually drove in a car through it. That would have been last night, and it was very trippy to be back there. But it was just like the other thing that was like crazy was that maybe I'll make another video about this other woman. But yeah, one of the panhandlers was still freaking there. I drove through the intersection at 7:30. One of the panhandlers, a girl who was there every day, like treating it like a full-time job there, 10 hours a day, was still there. Like, what did I get? I left that, I got clean, what is it, January, so it's been like 14 months now. Those 14 months, like the past 14 months, have felt so long for me. Like so much has changed, so much has gone on and everything. And this other woman has been presumably still there every day at that intersection. It's another form of monotony, another form of just like, I can't even like imagine doing that kind of thing every day for 14 months straight, plus the previous time. But yeah, that's kind of that. Just wanted to really tell the story of Bethany because yeah, like once I got clean and started thinking about that more, it's like that was really just different.